I got my hands on the new Eldritch Omens box over the weekend, and I've been feverishly building all the models so I can speak about it with some authority. It's mostly good, but there are some negatives too. So what do we actually get in the box? Well, on the Eldar side we get all new models, none of these have been seen before. So we get 5 plastic rangers, which are so much better than the finecast ones that I used to have. They were so difficult to work with. We get 3 Shroud Runner jet bikes, which are so cool, and we get a new Autark kit as well. For Chaos we get 6 new models, we get a Warpsmith and 5 plastic chosen. We also get a Forge Fiend, which is a weird inclusion when everything else is new. I've added up the price of similar kits, and even though they'll be cheaper than these ones when they come out individually, it still comes to £166 in total. Just like Imperium though, unless you're just wanting something interesting to paint, you've got someone to split with, or you're going to sell the other half, which could actually be quite profitable this time rather than Imperium, because these models are all unique, they're not out individually yet, so that could be quite profitable. The Eldar side, taking the prices from the old Autark, a box of Windriders in the standard aspect warrior cost is £71, and the Chaos side comes to £95, although £45 of that is taken up by the Forge Fiend, which I definitely think this box could do without. £80 for the 15 new models in this set would be a really nice price point, I think, considering you get 2 character models, 3 jet bikes, and 2 units of 5 models. Here's a bit of context for you though. Indomitus was £125 too. Do you know what we got in that? 5 character models, 3 Space Marine bikes, 3 Blade Guard, 3 Eradicators, and a 10-man squad of Assault Intercessors for one side. We also got 4 Necron characters, 2 Crypto Thralls, 3 Scorpec Destroyers, a Plasmacite, the big Canoptech Reanimator thingy, 6 bases of Scarab Swarms, and 20 Necron Warriors, plus a really nice full-sized hardback rulebook. So either Indomitus was just incredible value, or Eldritch Omens just isn't doing as much as it could be for us. I think the truth is probably somewhere in between. This box could have been cheaper, and Indomitus could easily have been more expensive. £100 would have felt really good for this, I think, although if you go to your friendly local game store you normally get a discount, and you could probably get close to £100 on this anyway. There's also a 32-page booklet with backstory and datasheets inside with a lot of fluff about the Nachmund War. Eldritch Omens takes place on an Exodite planet called Daith, and is between Samhan and the Black Legion. There are some Crusade add-ons, yet another book you have to keep track of though, and a few scenarios to play through. All in all, pretty much what you would expect. There's the usual build instructions booklet, and there's 2 sets of decals. It just seems like there's something missing with this, like a couple of D6 or some plastic rulers, maybe a lightweight rulebook, something like that. It'd be absolutely fantastic for new people to have a way into the hobby that wasn't Space Marines or Necrons. Speaking of Space Marines and Necrons, this actually reminds me a little bit of the 40k Command Edition, which is a starter set, and that has got a lightweight rulebook, dice, rulers, lots of Space Marines and Necrons, a comparable amount, but it's also got terrain. I know it doesn't have a Forge Fiend, but I could live without that, and that is £105. So I think that would be more where they should aim with this, and add the extras as well, because I think even model-wise, the value between the 2 boxes is the same if you count the terrain as replacing the Forge Fiend. So I think the existence of that set actually diminishes the value of Eldritch Omens somewhat. Enough about money. There's enough chat on the internet about GW pricing to last us all a lifetime. So let's get into what we're really here for, and that's the models. I'm happy to say they do not disappoint. I'll start off with the Chaos Marines first. I thought I had a buyer for these guys, but that has since fallen through, so I'm going to paint them Emperor's Children just as a little side project. I've never painted pink before. I think I should probably learn how to do it, so we'll see how that turns out. Of course, the transfer sheet has decals for everything apart from my chosen legion, so that's just typical. Doc Ock, or the Warpsmith as he's more commonly known, is a really fantastic model. He's so sturdy, he's got his tentacles coming out, he's got a big cloak that is made from wires, and it goes together really cleverly in 2 pieces. Just a great model. There is a bit of an oddity though. He's on a 60mm oval base, just to deal with the length of his cloak, and I've not seen that before in a Space Marine model, Chaos or Loyalist. So let me know in the comments below if there are any more Space Marines with that kind of base. I've never seen one, but maybe you have. The way I'd describe the chosen models are monopos with options. So the bodies are all static. There's only one way you can build each body, with the legs and the torso, but there's so many arm options and head options that you could make a completely unique looking squad really easily. While the Warpsmith is probably about the same height as a Primaris Marine, these guys look to be 1 or 2 millimeters shorter. So they do look smaller, but with the fluff, that should be the case anyway. At least they don't look like hobbits next to the Primaris Marines. I do have a bit of a gripe with these guys, and it is to do with the sculpting, or maybe the injection moulding, I'm not sure which. The trim round the leg plates is very soft, and by that I mean it's not very well defined between the trim and the armour plate, so there's a slope, like a gradient, going into the armour plate, so it'll be very difficult to get a clean line to paint the trim well. I thought this might have been sorted out because it's been like this for a long time, and it's really disappointing to pay this much for models in 2022 and that issue is still there. Of course, that's coming from someone with absolutely no knowledge of injection moulding or sculpting or anything like that, but I would have thought that they would have come up with a workaround for it, but they haven't. So that's a disappointment for me. One other thing, I didn't bother building the Forge Fiend because we've all seen what that looks like. It's still the old model, there's nothing new about it, it's just exactly the same. The Eldar side was what I was really interested in, and I'm already in love with these models. The Autarch looks great, and his sprue contains just about every option from his datasheet. The ones that are conspicuous by their absence are the Swooping Hawk wings and the helmet with the mandible blasters on them. They aren't there, although you can get them in the older Autarch kit, and I believe that these two kits work together, so you could put the wings on quite easily onto this new one. I built my Autarch with the Howling Banshee mask, the Striking Scorpion chainsword, and the Reaper launcher. It's like Ripley strapping weapons onto herself before she goes to fight the alien queen. It's awesome. As I said earlier, the new Ranger models are so much better than the old Finecast ones. The guns are slimmer, the details sharper, and the barrels don't warp round a corner. They've also got great dynamic poses, there's head options, there's weapon pose options. They're just so much better than the old kit in every possible way. Another thing is, if you've ever built a model that holds its gun across its chest, and you've had problems connecting from this bit to this bit and getting it all lined up properly while gluing it, this is the kit for you, because the arms just seem to slot right in, and they can hold their position while you glue them, so there's absolutely no problem with doing that kind of pose. Normally I have a wee bit of trouble holding everything in place while I glue it, not with this one little bit. I made the decision to glue all these together first before priming them, because you could go way overboard with sub-assemblies with this. I mean, where do you end? Do you do a wee bit of the arm plus the gun? Do you do a wee bit of the arm plus the gun plus the other arm that's sticking into it? You could go on forever. So I decided, if I can't see what's under the gun over the chest, then I just don't care about it. No one else is going to see it, only I'll know about it, and I just don't care. Before I talk about some of my favourite Eldar models ever, I'm going to have a bit of a moan. Split shoulder pads. Why? Why would you do that? It's the smallest bit in the model, really hard to fill properly, and I just want them 100% smooth so that they look great, and it's going to be really difficult to get that. I mean, why split the shoulder pad right down the middle? It's another thing to do with casting, to do with probably the CAD files. They could probably have sorted that out in pre-production, and they haven't. They've just left it to the hobbyist to sort it out. It's something I've hated on Stormcast, and it's something that I hate on Eldar. I know it's been there for a long time, it was there in the previous Jetbike Riders, but I hate it. I really wish they would sort it out. Which brings me around to the best bit of the box, and that is the Shroud Runner jet bikes. They are amazing. I love these. They remind me so much of the Return of the Jedi speeder bike chase on Endor in Star Wars. I love the riders hunched over the controls. I love the guys in the back sniping from presumably a very fast moving vehicle. I just love it all. There is one pose that is my particular favourite, and that is the rider is down and he's shooting to the side, and the other guy's got his gun right over the top of him, just shooting forwards. It's so unique, it's such a good pose, and that is probably my favourite thing in the whole box. These models are right up there with the Harlequin Skyweavers for me. They're just beautiful, there's something different for Eldar, and they've made me really excited for what's to come. I would want a full Exodite army if possible, with these guys in the vanguard. One bit of advice is, you can build all the riders separately without sticking them onto the bikes, so you should definitely do that. It will just make painting so much easier. Every rider fits on every bike, so you don't really have to worry about which sculpt goes on which bike, because you can mix and match afterwards and get the poses that you really want. There's also lots of heads and weapons left over, so they'll go straight in the bits box. I'm sure they'll be useful somewhere down the road. As luck would have it, I have a few jet bikes here to compare sizes just for fun. We've got a Wind Rider, a Sky Runner and a Sky Weaver. The Shroud Runner nose is the same design as the Wind Rider, but slightly shortened. I think this was a good decision, as it'd seem way too long if it was the same length. So would I recommend this set considering price and everything else? Yes, I would. If you're an Eldar fan, you could quite easily punt the Chaos side on eBay for probably more than you paid for it. And if you're a Chaos fan, vice versa. Just sell the Eldar. Because they're not out on their own yet, then you should get a really good price for it. And I think that alone gives the value to this box. The models from both sides are absolutely fantastic, and I'm really excited to take the plunge with getting these guys painted and starting new projects with them. The jet bikes look absolutely amazing, and the fact that you can keep the riders separate for sub-assemblies is great. It'll mean that painting it will be an absolute joy, so I'm really looking forward to that. Can I be really cheeky and ask for a favour from you all, please? If you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like, maybe even subscribing. It really helps the channel out a lot. Once again, thanks for watching, happy hobbying, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.